So here's what I would like to do with Keanu. I would like for us to go picking, and then I would like for both of us at the same time to reach up and grab, and then we take those home, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then we them together.
Right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And then we drink like a lot. We drink a lot. And then, sated, we gaze upon one another, mouths wet. Yeah? From what we've just finished drinking. And then he kisses me on the
Uh-huh.
yeah? And he does that for like long minutes. Just all over my yeah, all over it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then afterwards, we hold and we just sit quietly together. Then he reaches across because, we've separated a little bit.
Right.
He reaches across and very gently he caresses my and then he says to me in his beautiful voice, that was some damn good
Well, hello. Welcome to Thirst Aid Kit.
Well, hello indeed.
I'm Nichole.
And I'm Bim. And we've been doing the show now for a few weeks. And I feel like we've neglected something. We've neglected to tell you, dear listeners, about our thirst origin stories.
Oh, good point.
Yeah. So, Nichole, how did you become such a thirsty individual?
I've just been fascinated by desire for a very long time. When I was a little girl, I used to be in church reading Song of Solomon from the Bible.
God. I love Song of Solomon.
Yeah, it is a beautiful text. I mean, like, beyond whatever your religious affiliations
I just
are.
knew it was the sexy part of the Bible.
See, yes, so did
knew
I.
that. I went
Yes.
to Catholic school and I remember reading it in class.
Yeah.
At school and kind of going, oh my God, there's breasts in the Bible.
Yes. I mean, like, he's drinking from the goblet of her navel or something like that.
My beloved is to me a sachet of myrrh that lies between my breasts. My beloved is to me a cluster of henna blossoms in the vineyards of Engedi.
I've always paid...
There are church aunties right now kind of going, Lord, somebody save Nichole.
My mother, when she saw that I was reading Song of Solomon, like, constantly, every Sunday, she went and told my father, like, like, this is what your daughter's doing. Awake, O north wind, and come, O south. Blow upon my garden, that its spices may flow out. Let my beloved come to his garden and eat its pleasant fruits. I have been looking at lust and desire for a very long time, is what I'm saying.
Right. So, first of all, can I just say those are impeccable credentials?
Thank you.
I feel as though you just presented me with 7 PhDs. I'm like, listen, any child who read Song of Solomon as a kid, constantly, repeatedly,
yes,
that is a friend of mine because I also was quietly obsessed with that book of the Bible. Mm-hmm. But beyond that, like you, I have always been interested in culture, like as a general thing. And I went to an all-girls boarding school. So you could say that every summer when I came home from school, I was a little bit boy crazy because they were such an alien species to me because the bulk of my time, which I wouldn't change for the world, was spent with teenage girls.
Yes.
And as a result, as a grown up, I think I'm still kind of interested in the ways in which obviously, we think of the people that we lust after.
Yeah.
Thirst in particular is of interest to me because I'm a very thirsty individual and I have been doing a lot of kind of very personal research in this vein.
I like that, personal research.
Personal research. And this is not going to get published in a book.
Right.
But luckily, we can broadcast it in a podcast.
Hear, hear. It's time for Thirst Sommelier.
Yes.
Woo! This is a segment where listeners call in and they leave us a voicemail about their current crushes and they want us to give them new crushes. So we kind of widen their thirst palettes, so to speak.
Nice.
So today's voicemail is about someone that I know Bim loves, the actor Kelvin Yu.
Yes.
So let's take a listen.
Hey, Bim and Nichole. The crush that I have is Kelvin Yu.
Yes.
He is known for his work on Master of None and also for writing on Bob's Burgers. I think there's just something about the way that his voice sounds, the shape of his face,
Yep.
the way that his hair just always looks gelled to perfection.
Yes.
But I think it's mainly his voice, just how
Yes.
smooth but also kind of nerdy it is.
Yes.
So I'm wondering what else you could recommend to me.
All right. So this listener has my heart.
Yeah.
Because literally in the year of our Lord 2015, almost actually 2 years to the day, this was like 14th of November 2015, I wrote for my Guardian column, which was called Crush of the Week, I wrote about Kelvin Yu. And I said that he was basically everything I wanted. Here's what I said. I said that he was self-aware. He seemed self-aware and sweet and genuinely nice. And I remember, I think I tweeted at the time, when can we have more Brian, which is the character he plays on Master of None, because he's so, the listener had it exactly right. His voice is just so attractive.
Dude, it's a Father John Misty show. There's gonna be white people everywhere. Bring an Asian guy in case you need backup when the race war goes down.
If the race war goes down and I'm at a Father John Misty show, I'm already fudged.
So I've been watching this show on Netflix called Mindhunter.
Yes.
Yeah, your eyes have lit up.
Yes.
Okay, that's all you're saying. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. That's how I felt, because it stars a young man, an actor called Jonathan Groff, who kind of has this Boy Scouty kind of intense, very straight-laced, square jaw, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but you could tell that there's like something else happening with him. He's got some spice to him.
Some levels. He's not quite a spicy white, but he's not a bland.
Oh, no.
He's
He's not spicy white.
No.
But I would say spicy. I mean, like, there's a little heat to like his personality. Like, it's something's there.
Cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he, in a way, actually, is not a bad kind of sommelier suggestion for someone who likes Kelvin Yu, because he also has a really great voice. It's kind of, like the listener said, kind of nerdy, but also kind of just quite hot, Like, I appreciate when somebody's voice has like levels, layers,
Yeah.
Now we must focus on one thing. De-escalation. San Antonio's chief of police arrives and starts using a bullhorn, which more than effectively intimidates our hostage taker. Coming to anyone with an attitude of I'm right, you're wrong, assumes that they're of rational mind. We must establish communication. Non-threatening communication.
Attraction is not just the physical. Like, it's not just what you see. It's also kind of like, it lives in so many different spaces. Like, the idea of someone's voice being orally pleasing, I think there's something in that. Now, Kelvin's face shape, let's see.
I have a suggestion.
Oh, okay, go on.
That might work for this listener, and that is Daniel Henney. Daniel Henney.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yes. So he's people probably know him from Criminal Minds, and he was Agent Zero in Wolverine, the Origins movie. Well, the X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Oh my god.
Yes.
What a good choice, Nichole.
Yeah. So Daniel Henney is fine as hell. Oh my gosh, he's tall. I don't know how tall he is, but he seems pretty tall. And
pretty tall.
Yeah. So he is. His mother is Korean, is Korean American, and his father is
Irish American.
Yeah, white Irish American.
Yes.
So there's that face shape.
He's 6'2", by the way. I just
okay.
checked.
Yes, 6'2".
Yeah,
okay.
6'2" is a good height. All heights are good, obviously. But he has. You're right. He has great eyebrows also as well. In addition, which I am always here for.
He does amazing things with his hair too. Like he. Oof.
Yeah. He also has a very good chest situation. So congrats on your face, Daniel Henney.
And he's got a good voice.
A great voice.
He's got a really good
Oh my
voice.
gosh. You know what? I don't mean to like toot our own horn, but that was some top sommelier
Yeah,
action.
that was right off the dome too. Like we had no prep.
I love that. That's because the thing is, with Thirst, if you stay ready, you never have to get ready.
Come on with it. What?
Okay, so I hope that we were able to help that listener who very thoughtfully left us a voicemail, because that's the best way that we can help you widen your thirst palate, as Nichole so eloquently put it. So we need you to leave us a message. It's very, very simple. If you require the services of the Thirst Sommeliers, aka Nichole Perkins and me, Bim Adewunmi,
That's us.
you just call and leave a message. And the number to call is 765-884 4778. That's basically 765-8 thirst.
That's so stinking cute.
I know. So, Nichole,
Yes, Bim.
the first object of today is someone that we really, really love.
I'm so excited.
I feel comfortable. I feel safe. I feel warm.
I feel like he listens to me.
Uh-huh.
But I just want to grab his hair.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is that what you want to do?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I just want to just hold him real close.
So, it's Keanu Reeves.
Keanu.
Keanu.
I love him so much.
I feel like I love him even more.
No. We might have to fight about that.
That's okay. That's
Yeah.
okay. That's just what the patriarchy wants. We won't fight.
Right, no, we won't
We'll
fight.
love together.
Yes, absolutely.
Exactly.
We'll get like a farm and, just have a little house
Yeah.
that he can visit us in and stuff.
A
you know.
pasture where he can roam.
Exactly. He can get some exercise. Yeah.
So let's talk about Keanu Reeves. My first Keanu is from Parenthood,
Okay.
the movie that I think was directed by Ron Howard.
Yeah.
Parenthood is about this family called the Buckmans, they're dysfunctional in the way that families are. So this particular family is going through a lot of things, There's divorce and there's therapy and there's like sensitive children and prodigal sons, etc., etc. And the scene where I remember falling in love with Keanu properly for the first time was the scene where he's talking to his girlfriend's mother about his own experience with kind of wayward families or wayward fathers or whatever. And it's just this emotional scene that he kind of plays almost slightly for laughs, but also at its core is like, real family drama.
Right.
Miss Buckman, you need a license to buy a dog or drive a car. Hell, you need a license to catch a fish. But they'll let any butt-reaming asshole be a father.
Oh, baby Keanu.
Baby Keanu. And the use of the word butt reaming.
Yeah.
Isn't that just so 90s? I must have been about, I don't know, pre-teen or just teen. And I remember a distinct feeling of happiness in my chest when I saw him because he's beautiful.
Beautiful.
He's so beautiful.
Especially when he was young. I mean, we're all beautiful when we're young, but like he was just like glowing.
How about you? Where did you see Keanu and kind of go, oh, who's that guy?
I remember him from My Own Private Idaho. And this wasn't a movie that I saw in the theaters because my working class Southern Black parents were not taking me to see, two young gay white hustlers on screen. But I guess just like it was playing on cable or something. And I remember just going very still and watching the whole movie, even though I didn't understand it. But it was just his friendship with River Phoenix. And he was very sensitive. And again, the beauty and that dark, floppy, fantastic hair was just so compelling to me. Like it just really had me just mesmerized. It's an extension of his acting, really. So he can make it tremble with rage. He can make it just kind of flop like, oh, I'm really into you. I know you like my hair. Look at me pull my fingers through it. Like he's just amazing.
So you've mentioned sexy Keanu.
Right.
But what is more common is
the romantic, kind of chaste, very safe, very there's not a lot of heat with Keanu, right?
this is like the mild versus spicy.
Yeah. I mean, when I say there's not a lot of heat to Keanu, I personally think there is. But in the movies, he is not allowed to be overtly sexy.
Right.
Very often. I mean, there are some moments that we will get to. But, for Speed, even in Point Break, he's not allowed to just kind of have these really steamy, raunchy moments. When he's kissing someone, it's very sweet, whatever.
Yes, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Like he's not a pursuer. He's not like this kind of I feel like the spice is just beneath the surface. And what he gives us is kind of like universal kind of mass appeal without kind of turning it up too much. And I think you're right. That for me has been the bulk of Keanu's career, which I'm quite sad about actually, because he's very sexy when he plays sexy.
Right. So in the show Bones, great show, recently went off the air. It's good comfort food. Okay?
I love Bones, but it's not a great show. Carry on.
Yes. All right. So stick with me. I have a point here.
Okay.
So Bones, Temperance Brennan asks Booth, do you think I'm cold? Am I too cold or whatever? And he tells her, you're like Iceland.
What you are is Iceland. Cool to the touch, but underneath, you're all volcano.
Cold, but there's a volcano beneath you. Oh. And that's how I see Keanu Reeves. Oh. That he can seem kind of cold and distant, and people are just like he's expressionless. But there is a volcano bubbling underneath the surface that his 30-year career still hasn't really been able to fully erupt and show us.
There are 7 million metaphors wrapped up in that. But first of all, can I just say that I am going to absolutely include there is a volcano beneath in my wedding vows if I ever get married. Do. And listen, my would-be groom, whoever he is, just acknowledge this. Let me just put this on the public record. When I talk about volcanoes in our wedding, in my wedding vows, just suck it up, okay? Just go with it. Don't ask questions.
Please invite me to the wedding.
Oh, Nichole, you'll be in the front seat. Don't worry about that. You'll clap when I get to the volcano bit.
I love it.
Okay, so we are going to explore something that is a bit of a key text in the Keanu syllabus. And it is from the Nancy Meyers film, Something's Gotta Give.
Oh, my God.
Right?
Oh, my God.
So, for me, he plays a doctor called Julian in this, which is such a great character name for Keanu.
Right.
Julian.
Right.
And he has, longish hair in this as well. But the important thing for me in this is that Keanu plays something quite rare in that in this movie, he plays sexy.
Oh, he's so sexy in this
movie. He plays like hot. And I don't mean like a little bit hot. I mean like proper.
Yes.
Oh my God, who is that guy?
Almost predatory hot.
Right, but never predatory.
No, never.
Because he doesn't do that.
He's very respectful.
He's so respectful.
But just let you know just enough.
Right.
That I would take you down right here if you need me to. Just say the word.
Like a lion would a gazelle.
Yes.
And I'm into it.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
So this is Something's Gotta Give is for me peak sexy Keanu.
Yeah.
Which is very different from romantic.
How old are you?
Keanu.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
I'm 36.
So I am like almost 20 years older than you. That's an enormous amount of years to be older than somebody, don't you think?
Don't think it matters at all.
You don't.
I know.
Okay, but in terms of us, I mean, you just want us to be friends, right?
Honestly? No.
So what do you want to be?
I think I'd embarrass you if I told you.
You giggle every time.
Every time. Because he's so hot.
He is so hot. And let's talk about the moment in that scene with Diane Keaton.
Yes.
Where he just kind of gives her a look.
Yes. So a lot of people think that Keanu is one note, that he's very expressionless, that he is not a good actor, but he really is quite capable. And he does these small physical things that just really put, that moment over the edge.
Uh-huh. So tell me about the moment that puts it over the edge in this scene.
So they're at the restaurant eating dinner, and Diane Keaton is talking, whatever she's talking about, and he's looking at her. The eye contact is amazing, like just straight up undressing her. And then he gives her a little glance, like he's checking her out from head to toe. And it's just, he doesn't move his face. It's just a real quick drop of the lids, and then he comes back, and it's like you can see that he has read everything he needed to read, and he knows that, okay, this is how I'm going to apply my move for the rest of the day.
And it's not creepy.
It's not creepy at all.
Isn't that amazing?
It's fantastic.
That is the power of Keanu, that he can essentially do a headlight look.
Yes.
Top to bottom.
Yes.
In like a nanosecond.
Yes.
And you do not feel violated.
Right.
You do not feel as though you have been molested.
Right.
You just kind of go, oh, I'm a woman, he's a man.
Right.
Okay, we're doing this.
Right.
Right?
It's
potent.
Very potent.
I watched that scene and I giggled again. I rarely giggle. I let out like a full girlish titter.
Okay, so we have talked about sexy, chaste Keanu.
Hot Keanu, yeah.
Yeah, but let's talk a little bit about action Keanu, because I think that's what a lot of people know him best for.
Right.
Like,
that's his introduction into the movies, right?
Right, yeah, like Speed and Point Break and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, Speed and Point Break were... Were
they formative for you?
They were very important in my life. Yes, absolutely. But like with Speed, where he's on the bus, the bus is rigged to explode if it goes under so many miles per hour.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. But in Speed, he's trapped in the bus.
No, he's not on the bus. Is he in Speed?
Yes, he eventually gets on the bus.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
he's eventually on the bus with Sandra Bullock, and a lot of times he's just kind of like leaning over her, right? Like he's just talking. So all you really can see of him is like his arms, maybe.
It's not a bad view though.
Yeah, it's not a bad view. He's got short hair.
Yes.
Which is not my favorite, but I'll take it anyway. I'll take Keanu any way I can get him.
As will most of us.
Yes. But there was a certain kind of slim action hero thing that he had going on.
I actually think he was kind of bulky in Speed. Not like bulky, but like I feel like he got leaner as he got older. In some ways, but I love how he looks solid. Is all I remember from Speed.
Yes.
He looks like a barn door,
right?
Like a running barn door. Just effective.
Yeah, but Point Break, he was so cut. He was, because he was doing all these little adrenaline games and stuff with Patrick Swayze.
I'm so happy.
May he rest in peace.
May he rest.
Oh, we have to do an episode about Patrick Swayze.
I feel strongly that we will.
Yes. But yeah. So Point Break. Keanu was playing this undercover cop to infiltrate Patrick Swayze's gang of adrenaline junkies who would rob people doing all kinds of crazy stunts and stuff. Keanu has like this surfer's build, right?
He does.
And he's, in the water and wet a lot. His hair is, there's like this one moment. I can't remember exactly where it is, but it's like, if you look up images for Keanu Point Break, you'll see him wet, like looking back at the camera with his shirt off and shit. Yes, I love Point Break. And also, just seeing him move. I think that was one of the first times you get to really see him move and be without clothes, I should say.
It makes a difference.
It does.
Because fabric adds drag, you see.
Exactly.
And when you take off the fabric, it makes for a sleeker run, ultimately.
Right.
Yeah. No, I get it. Scientifically speaking, you're very right.
Yeah. So we've talked about Speed and Point Break, which are probably his most active roles before the Matrix trilogy. And there's another moment, an important moment in Matrix 2 Reloaded that's very physical for me. When Neo and Trinity are doing it. Well, I because the scene is problematic, right? Because it's all the people of color dancing and being very primal while the white people are off being soft and gentle with each other and shit, right? So Neo and Trinity are in their little nook. And, he's on top and they're kissing and, making love.
Okay, Harlequin romance.
And his muscles, his biceps are so pronounced.
Yes.
And it's not like overly pronounced. It's not, overly done. But it's just clearly like, I've been working out. Look at it. Look, boom, boom, boom. And you see, and he's just, you don't get to see him kissing passionately that often.
You do not.
Even when he's in romance movies or whatever. He shares a kiss, but it's not very...
It's always very chaste.
Yeah, it's very sweet.
It's not hot.
Right. But this was very sexy. Because, like, when you're having sex and somebody's kissing you, it's it should be passion-filled. And that's what's going on here. And I just love his body in that moment. I'll never forget it.
Why should you? I would urge you not to.
No,
but talking about his body, though, I think that's a real part of the idea of Keanu as sexy Keanu versus romantic Keanu or like goofy Keanu. And I think his body is so lean. Like, that is the word I think of every time I think about Keanu. He's so lean. Like, even with his advanced age, but he's just he's this tower that is not overbearing, is not overpowering, because he's a tall man.
Right.
I think he's over 6 feet tall.
I think he's 6'1".
But you never feel...
Yes, he's 6'1", because I looked it up, because when we went to see John Wick 2.
Yes, we saw it together.
John Wick Chapter 2. We saw it together.
We giggled all the way through.
All the way through, hitting each other, just like, oh my God, did you see this? There is a moment where he's in the car and the doors are ripped off, right? So his body is exposed. And his legs are so long, like his knees are up in his chest. I was like, what? I literally pulled out my phone and Googled how tall is Keanu Reeves, because I recognized that he was tall, but it never like dawned on me until that moment how long and lean he was. And that's when I found out that he's 6'1". Just legs for days. I love it.
For weeks.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
Yes. I also like that he is pigeon-toed.
Is he?
I think he's pigeon-toed.
He is actually.
Yeah, because he runs kind of funny.
I love the way he runs.
Yes.
So after we saw John Wick 2, I was tweeting about this and I said, Keanu Reeves runs like he just discovered that his legs work. And genuinely, it's kind of like, legs.
Yes.
And then he kind of runs. He's fairly haphazard about it.
Yeah.
His arms are everywhere. His legs are everywhere.
Yeah.
Same thing when he's running in the Matrix.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you have 4 limbs. Try
coordinate.
Coordinate. He's like a baby foal, a hot baby horse.
foal.
He's just a little foal.
Yeah.
I love
can
him.
see that.
Yeah. I think one of the things I love about Keanu, which again, not a lot of people have written about, his hands.
Absolutely.
His hands are beautiful.
Beautiful hands.
They're so big.
Big and like the lean fingers.
Yeah.
Without being too skinny. You know, they don't look skeletal. Like his hands just look very capable.
Right.
And as a woman with, I'm Southern. I got a little something happening in the back. I need to know that somebody can handle that. And I feel like Keanu with those hands.
Yeah, he could.
He could handle.
He'd be up to the task.
Yeah, I think so.
They seem like they know things. Like they just seem, like you said, capable. They can do things. I feel like he could build shelves.
Yeah.
I don't mean put them up.
No.
I mean he could actually make them.
Right.
He could build them. He could
Right.
sand. He could sand some shelves. And that sounds like a euphemism, and perhaps it is. But he could sand some shelves.
I let him sand some shells.
Did you just wiggle in your chair?
Yes, I did.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about one more thing that I think is actually kind of important when we're talking about Keanu Reeves, and that is the fact that he is part Asian. He has said that his grandmother was Chinese and Hawaiian. And when I think about Hollywood and who gets to ascend to like the dizzying heights of Hollywood royalty, they tend not to be part anything. They're usually kind of white people, essentially.
Right.
And even though Keanu is only part Asian, he's not, he is, for me, a shining example that even when you widen the door just a little bit, it matters. I think about, my friend Danielle, who is half Chinese, and growing up for her, Keanu was like this very singular kind of experience, and she really fancied him when she was younger, and he's one of her favorite movie stars still. And part of the reason why she fancied him so much and why she liked him so much was that she looked at the screen and she saw someone like her.
Right.
And I just kept thinking the power of that is the kind of thing that propels us forward. I think about how it's not because there aren't other handsome Asian American actors out in the world in Hollywood. It's that there's so few that are put in front of me.
Right.
So it's really a case of when we think about who we fancy and why we fancy them, this idea that it's some kind of, divine law that is passed down, the Sermon on the Mount or whatever,
Right, yeah.
Tablets coming from heaven. That's not true. The fact of the matter is you fancy who is put in front of you. So it's proximity, it's access.
Exactly. We imprint on people very early.
Right.
And if that's all that we see, then that's who ends up shaping who we end up with as adults.
Exactly. And the messages that are being told to us is that, you're not supposed to fancy,
Right. And for me, I think that we could kind of expand that. Like I would have loved, and his career is still going, but it would be great to see more women of color as his love interests.
Right.
Because there are a lot of women of color, Black women particularly, that I know of who, as you would say, fancy him. And it would be great to see him, locked in an embrace with a woman of color.
Locked in an embrace.
Yes.
You read romance novels growing up.
Yes, I did. Making love. It would be great to see that, And so Keanu has recently done a couple of martial arts movies in the last several years, and in 47 Ronin, he had an Asian love interest, and so that was fine, but the movie was terrible. And so it would be great to see him in better movies with love interests that were women of color, or at least, more people of color even.
Right.
Just put that out there
so
that we can see ourselves kind of, I want to imagine myself locked in an embrace.
Oh my God.
With Keanu.
And that was Grandma Nichole, locked in an embrace. It's time for what is actually... I knew it was a good segment. I knew it was a great idea. But having the readers tell us how much they love this segment...
it's just really been affirming, and it just feels so good to hear our listeners and see, getting their emails, their tweets, voicemails. I mean, every way that people can communicate with us to tell us this, that they love the Drabbles, the Fanfic Wars. They'll do it. So we appreciate that.
I so appreciate it. And I mean, one of the best messages we got last week was somebody saying, "Ooh, I think I'm going to go back to reading and writing fanfic."
Yeah.
Which is just kind of, are we out here inspiring people?
I mean, that's what it's all about, really.
Oh my God. I feel like MLK. We're doing such important work, guys. I want to take a moment. Now, all jokes aside, I truly, truly, truly appreciate every single one of those emails, tweets, whatever, voicemails, people telling us how much they love the Fanfic Wars. So, without further ado, I just have to say that this week, I felt that I poured a lot of my heart and soul into this fic, into this little drabble, because I care about Keanu in a way that is foundational to my idea of thirst and lust.
Right. We've talked about John Cho as our patron saint of the show, and I think Keanu is just... I don't know what he could be. What's higher than a patron saint? I'm not Catholic, so I don't really... he is just the Trinity. He is
what?
The Holy Trinity of...
He's all three parts of the Trinity?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He's just all of it, right then and there, just right there.
Oh, God. No, Keanu is very important. So I do think that this week's fanfic, I think it's going to kind of appeal to every part of anyone who's ever fancied Keanu. And if you never fancied Keanu, I feel strongly that you will after this Fanfic Wars.
Right.
I'm going to go first this week. I mean, you could take that as a sign that you should vote for me. But you know what?
Oh,
you
boy.
could also
Here
vote for
we
Nichole.
go.
No. Let me finish.
Okay, yes.
You could also vote for Nichole. It's the next thing I was about to say. It's a 50-50 chance. Jesus.
Yes. Vote. It doesn't matter who you vote for, but you should vote for me.
Wow.
And we're all winners.
I think that's the bottom line. I have to be just kind of like bottom line accountant here. As long as we're not in the red at the end of every episode, if we're firmly in the black, and we're all kind of enjoying Mr. Keanu Reeves, then everyone's a winner, baby. So this is a piece called 3 Weeks.
Oh.
I'm so sorry, he said. Again. Will you forgive me? She could hear him breathing, and it soothed her. It always did. You're okay, she replied. I promise. At his silence, she spoke up again. It's fine. I'll see you in a few weeks anyway, right? Right, he replied. 3 weeks. He paused, and she heard him take another breath, this one a little sharp. I already know what I'm getting you, but is there anything in particular you want? She took her time answering. She knew she could ask for something extravagant or rare. Just you, she said eventually. Her voice warmed now. And, well, remember my last birthday? Another puff of air from him. Yeah, he replied quietly. She swore she could feel him blush over the phone. Her boyfriend, the movie star who still blushed. She laughed because she couldn't help it. Well, I want that, she said. That can be arranged, he said in a low voice. 3 weeks. She held the phone to her smiling lips long after he'd hung up. The end.
Whoa. I mean, the windows are fogged up. What? Bim?
Listen, it's been a long week, okay? I poured all my feelings into this fic.
Okay. Let me drink some of my drink.
I want to drink some of my drink.
Thirsty. Okay, damn.
Okay, Nichole. Okay, so listen. I don't want to create an atmosphere of stress. So I want you to take another sip of your drink.
Okay, yes.
Okay.
I'm going to do that.
And then lean into it. Just read what you've written for Keanu this week.
Okay. Well, 3 seems to be a theme.
Okay.
So we're just going to call this Third Date. On our third date, Keanu asks me why I didn't want to try the new sushi restaurant he'd heard about. My sigh of resignation ruffles the shock of inky black hair covering his eyes. He laughs at my expression and settles in for a good story, those chocolate diamond eyes crinkling as he prepares to memorize the smallest detail of my anti-sushi stance. He's good at that, I've noticed, absorbing everything. I worry that when I share my many food quirks, I'll come across as too high maintenance or lacking adventure. He reaches across the table to rub a thumb along the back of my hand. It's a little rough, calloused from his motorcycle and training adventures over the years. I like it. Keanu glances at our hands and turns mine over. He traces the lines of my palms, circling the moles that dot across what I hope will be a long future with him. He tells me, I like your food quirks. That just means you have discerning tastes. You're selective. He folds my hand to his lips, eyes never leaving mine. I'm glad you've chosen me.
What? I don't know if you can tell, but I'm laughing with my tongue fully out.
Yes, the Cardi B laugh.
The Cardi B laugh of filth.
Oh.
So listen, that detail of Keanu's thumb running along the back of your... Okay, we're done. Okay. We're done. We're done, my sister. I love these fanfics so much.
I do too.
Like, it gives me legitimate joy when I'm sitting here writing them up, just kind of like, wow, I feel like I'm 16 again. It's fantastic. It's great. So you've heard both our stories, and now you know what to do. That's right. You go to Thirst Aid Kit on Twitter to vote for your fave. That could be Nicole's. That could be mine. I feel like it could be mine more than it could be Nicole's.
It'll be mine. It'll be mine.
I mean, listen, the key is to vote with your heart. And if your heart just so happens to be spelling out 3 little letters, BIM, then so be it.
Oh, boy.
But also, more importantly, you need to send us your own stories. We've gotten so many fan drabbles. And honestly, we are blown away by the amount of clear talent that is just coursing through the veins of our listeners, such as this one that we received from a listener called Nikita about a certain Mr. John Cho, who, by the way, has been the top person that people have sent their drabbles in about.
Yeah, John Cho and Andre 3000.
People love them some John Cho.
Yeah.
I mean, we do too, so we understand.
Right.
Nichole is going to read.
Yes, I'm going to read Nikita's drabble about John Cho. I've just finished cooking dinner when I hear the familiar sound of John dropping his keys on the hallway table. He had to go into work unexpectedly, so I decided to make his favorite Indian food, lamb, biryani, and spicy greens as a treat. I smile as I feel him wrap his long arms tightly around my waist and breathe a soft sigh into my neck. Ugh. A wave of heat courses through me, and I can't tell if it's from the stove in front of me or the feeling of being in his embrace. Long day, I say, as I turn around to face him. Exhausting, he says, one big hand moving up to lightly hold my neck, his thumb lazily stroking my chin. But better now that I'm home. I rest my hands on his broad chest, feeling the heat of his body through his soft, well-worn t-shirt, and look up at him. Are you hungry? I made dinner. He laughs, a low baritone that I can feel in my chest, and that sets my pulse racing. He smiles and reaches behind me to turn off the burner. He slowly drops to his knees, his hands already pulling my hips toward him. Oh, I could eat. Nikita!
Listen!
Okay.
I'm sweating, fam. What?
You know I love anything where a man drops to his knees, so thank you, Nikita. We appreciate that.
Nikita, man, listen. Oh my God. Oh God. And my eyes are watering. I feel I'm not at ease. Whew. Oh my God. Okay, so I'm going to calm myself way the fuck down, and I'm going to just reiterate that please send us your drabbles. For the love of God, send us your drabbles at thirstaidkit@buzzfeed.com, and maybe we could be reading your drabble out on the air and sweating profusely live in the studio. Thirst Aid Kit is produced by Eleanor Kagan, Julia Furlan, and Agarinesha Shagre, with additional editing by Meg Kramer.
And sexy glances from Keanu Reeves.
God bless him.
God bless him. Keanu, if you're listening, if your people are listening, come through.
Come all the way through.
We love you.
Our music is by Tanya Morgan.
And you can find us on Twitter at TN Whiskey Woman. That's TN Whiskey with an E, woman, and Bimadew, BIMADEW.
So thank you so much for listening. Thank you for also doing a very important thing, which is basically going to Apple Podcasts and rating and reviewing the show. If you liked what you heard, then please leave a rating, leave a review, and it will help other people discover Thirst Aid Kit and the wonder that lies within. We'd also love to hear what you thought of this episode in particular. So please email us again at thirstaidkit@buzzfeed.com. And to be honest, we love all the reviews that you've left for us, and we appreciate each and every one.
Stay tuned and stay thirsty. And there's another moment, an important moment in Matrix 2 Reloaded. That's really physical for me, and I like it a lot.
I know you do. I love how you use a euphemistic. I like it a lot.
I'm trying to be delicate, but it's where Neo and Trinity are doing it in the midst of this, like...
Can I just say that you have such sophisticated language that you go, so they're doing it, yeah?
And it's like, I literally use that phrase in my real life, and when I'm texting people, I capitalize the D and I capitalize the I, so there's no doubt that I am talking about
doing it.
Doing it, making the beast with two backs. Okay,
oh my God,
that's
I hate
what I'm
that expression
about.
so much.
I love it. It's my favorite.